Welcome back to Fourth and Forever. It is my pleasure to introduce the man joining us today, one of the most feared defensive players in the entire NFL, former Super Bowl champion and MVP, the Denver Broncos' own Von Miller. Thank you for coming.
Howdy. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, I saw you on a virtual fan thing there for, was it for the Lakers or the Heat?
Oh, yeah, it's for the Lakers.
Yeah.
I just got presented with that just like out the blue. I didn't even know. It was like 2 days before. And my assistant asked me, did I want to be a virtual fan? I was like, hey, let's do it. I saw myself on TV, man. It was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it to be that cool, man. It was pretty cool.
Were you excited for LeBron? What are your takes on, give me your take on the finals quickly.
Yeah, I was excited for LeBron, man. I wanted him to win. You know, he's the GOAT. You know, he's had, a whole lot of opportunities to go win the finals. And, to go and get his fourth one was cool. I was definitely rooting for the Lakers.
You're obviously going through some of your own stuff now, injury-wise. Most recently, I'm sure you've been following the storylines in the NFL closely, but we saw Dak Prescott last week and his ankle injury. They're talking about a 4 to 6 month recovery. What's the first thing you thought of when you saw it? And if you could offer any advice to Dak, stuff that you've already been through, little milestones you've hit already in your recovery path, what would those be? But first, what did you think of right away?
I kind of second guessed it. I was like, man, it can't be real. I was watching the game. I was watching the game live at home, and I saw everything. I saw his leg and stuff, and immediately I was just trying to go to like, okay, it's just dislocated. They'll be able to put it back. They'll just be able to put it back in,
right.
And whenever you dislocate something, it's a little surgery there, but like it's not. As extreme as if you broke something. And then, the later news came out that he had a compound fracture and, he's going to be out 4 to 6 months. And, if anybody could go through and beat something like that, it's Dak. I've been around Dak and, I know the type of guy he is. He plays for the Cowboys. My whole family's, Cowboys fans. I feel like I've, followed his career, this whole time of definitely rooting for, Dak. And if anybody can get through this, is Dak, man. And, it's a serious injury, but, he's got all the best doctors in the world. He's got the Cowboys team doctors, working on him, looking after him. He'll be all right. It'll be an incredible story. The NFL, they love stories like this. They love redemption stories. They love comeback stories. And this is just going to be a great comeback story for Dak and for all of us to, be inspired by.
It's tough for, I think, a lot of people on the outside, because when you're in it, you feel like that's the most important thing going on, your own personal injury. But the world still turns, right? The season must go on. Yeah. So now, where are the Cowboys? What do you think? I mean, Andy Dalton is their guy. They named him their starter. If he goes down, they signed Garrett Gilbert from the Browns practice squad, and the NFC East is wide open. I mean, the Cowboys are ahead in their division. What do you think about their chances for the rest of the year in their division in the NFC East? And what about, do you see them trading for a quarterback, maybe like Dwayne Haskins, maybe Josh Rosen? Do you think that's in their future?
No, I mean, they got Andy. It was one of the biggest free agent signings of the offseason. Andy Dalton going to the Cowboys, and nobody expected it, and they signed him, to that deal to come there and back up Dak. And, they brought him in to be a veteran quarterback and, kind of bounce ideas off of Dak and, make Dak better. And now you got, Andy, is next man up in the NFL. And, Dak's hurt. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. And you got Andy. He's, the Red Rifle has definitely, led some incredible offenses. He's taken the Cincinnati Bengals to the playoffs. I want to say twice, and he's had an incredible year with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's won games, won big time games. He's threw for a lot of yards. He's led teams. He's done all this great stuff with the Cincinnati Bengals. Is now he's here with the Dallas Cowboys, and it's time to go. It's everybody says it's next man up in the NFL, and they still got Zeke and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and. They got this big, stout offensive line still. I know they're down a couple of offensive linemen, but their offensive line is still stout. And, it's next man up. Like you said, the NFC East is wide open. And all those teams are struggling right now. So, it's unfortunate, not to have Dak in there, but I feel like, they'll still be able to go out and be competitive in games and win a couple of these games as well. All you got to do is win the division to go to the playoffs and, they're definitely in the hunt for that.
I 100% agree. I think that's a good take on it. What about contract-wise with Dak? The sticking point, it sounded like, was the 4-year deal, which Dak wanted, the 5-year deal, which the Cowboys and Jerry Jones wanted. You got your massive deal with the Broncos. How awkward do you think it was for Dak in the building? Because you live this, right? Like, you still see those people on a daily basis, right? Like, you see John Elway all the time, and everybody knows you're in this contract dispute. How awkward is that as a player when you're going through that?
We got a beautiful league that we play in, and it's a dream to play in the National Football League. But it does have some weird and ugly sides to it. That's just one of them. That's just the business part of it. I think injuries is a big ugly side for the NFL, and I think cuts at the end of training camp is ugly too. Other than that, other than signing contracts and getting hurt and getting cut, this is a beautiful league. It's a beautiful league that we live in, and you just kind of got to live with that. Everybody's human at the end of the day, and I feel like if we can all keep that in mind, everything will be good. And I think over time especially like with situations like Dak, the human aspect has to it has to kick in. I don't know if you go and sign them to a 10-year deal, but you want to keep Dak around. You want to keep Dak around.
That was going to be my next question. What do you think they do contract-wise with him? You think they offer him the same exact deal or something less? Because now the Cowboys have all the leverage, right? I mean, now Dak's got to prove it again.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on like what they're doing, but you got to be human about it. Dak has been playing well the last 2 years. He's led the league in passing. I think he either led the league in passing last year or he was extremely close. And he was on his way to doing the same thing this year. And with quarterbacks an ankle, you really don't need like an ankle like that. I can see if it was like a, if I can see if it was like a shoulder, like if he, shattered his shoulder or did like some crazy things to his throwing arm, but his throwing motion is it's gonna be the same. He's gonna be able to make all the passes still. It's not like he's running 400 yards a game or anything like that. He'll still be able to move after this, but in my opinion, you got to keep Dak around, man. He was on his way to doing great things with the Cowboys, and if you don't, he still has a bright future. It's a lot of teams that needs quarterbacks right now, and wherever he goes, he's gonna be the same Dak that he was for the Cowboys for any other team. And it's crazy because you see other quarterbacks get deals, and in my opinion, I feel like Dak is on that same type of level. And the NFL
Wentz, you're talking Wentz, Goff.
Yeah, like Wentz,
Dak.
Goff, Deshaun Watson. I feel like he's right there, with those guys, and all of those guys got, all these guys got deals and whatnot they got paid off of potential, basically, and
No
Dak
doubt.
has done a lot of games, and I think he's won. I think Tom Brady is the only quarterback that has won more games than him. It was another win stat for Dak, and
Wow.
Dak, at the end of the day, Dak wins games. He's a great quarterback, and he should be able to get paid like the rest of those guys.
Let's talk about your injury first and how you're feeling right now, where you're at mentally, because I know from my own experience, dislocating my shoulder, tearing my labrum, when you go down and it's the entire year, you kind of go into that like Christian Bale, Batman, dark hole and this like solitary place, and you have to fight every day during rehab, and you create these little milestones of things that you couldn't do the day before that you're going to attempt to do the next day. At least that was my experience. Where are you at with your recovery? How you feeling physically, emotionally, mentally? Where are you at?
I'm good. I've torn my ACL before, and I've been in this place before. And like you said, it is a dark space, but I'm immediately brought back to like that quote by Bane when he was talking to Batman, and he was beating him up, and he was like, "Hey, you've merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it." And I feel like, these situations that I've been in, I've been in this situation before, and I can't sit here and say like it's been all like positive. Like that wouldn't be true. Like you go through like these different emotions, but I'm at a great space. I feel like those first 2 days are the toughest. That's why I haven't reached out to Dak or anything like that yet, because the first 2 days are the toughest, and like I've come to that conclusion. Like it takes 2 days to like get through that. Like you have like these dreams and these flashbacks. Like, what if I would have made this move, or what if I would have did this differently, or what if I would have wore these shoes to practice today, or like what if I would have ate this. You do that for like 2 days, and then after that, for me, after that, I started thinking about like, what could I do to like beat this? Like, what could I do to like overcome this? What could I do to get back this season? Like, I immediately like got in that, space, and I haven't looked back. I haven't second guessed it. Like I know like I'm gonna come out of this injury, and I know I'm gonna be good. I go into rehab every day, and I feel it. I feel my ankle, and I feel like the strength coming back. And it's not like an ACL. The ACL was tough, man. Like you gotta have, your knee in this little brace for like, probably 8 weeks. It's hard to take showers, and an ankle compared to that, it's not as bad, man. I'm gonna be back. I'm in a good space.
The list of injuries just goes on and on. I mean, Saquon, you, Dak, Christian McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, Nick Bosa. It's incredible this year, the number of guys who've gone down and premier players that have gone down. Is it the lack of offseason? Is it, what would you attribute that to? Do you think it's just a fluke year?
I think it's just a fluke year. I think it's just 2020. Because you got guys that don't go to OTAs. You got guys that don't do football stuff. Like, it's not the first time where guys, like, don't have an offseason. In 2016, I didn't do anything in the offseason. I did Dancing with the Stars and went to Six Flags every week. I didn't do any football stuff the whole entire offseason. And that year, I had one of the best years of my career in 2016. And, I didn't have any injuries or anything like that. I just feel like it's just a fluke year, man. And it all started off by the Kansas City Chiefs winning. They shouldn't have won that game. It was supposed to be. That was a joke. No, everybody know Patrick Mahomes was supposed to win that. Everybody know Patrick Mahomes was supposed to win that.
You're just hating because they're in the division. I get it.
No, but you can't hate Patrick Mahomes, man. It's like it's impossible to hate like Patrick Mahomes. Like he does everything right. There's nothing to hate. The only reason to hate him is because he wins, and like that's not a good reason to just hate somebody because they win all the time. Like that's lame, So. But it started off with like the unfortunate, passing of Kobe, and then it just got the quarantine, and and all the lives that we lost through COVID, and then all of this stuff, and this is from my perspective. I'm sure if you ask somebody else, their perspective would be different about 2020. But mine, it started with Kobe and then quarantine, and everybody going through this whole COVID crisis, whether whether they, lose their life or they're extremely sick, or the whole COVID thing is extremely crazy. And then, trying to find a way to play football in the pandemic, not only football, but all of these sports, trying to find a way to play sports during the pandemic. And, it's just a crazy year. It's got to be something with, the stars aligning or the planets aligning or something, bro, because it's just crazy right now.
How do you think the league's handling this virus and everything going on? It seemed like at the beginning, at least from my perspective, it was, okay, there's a positive test. Okay, well, wait a couple days and then play your game. But the bottom line is we're getting these games in. You know what I mean? Now it seems like the league's taking a step back and maybe readdress some of these protocol issues and is thinking a little more about player safety first. What's your take on it? Because you're watching it from the outside. Obviously, you're in the building, but you have a unique vantage point, I feel like. How do you think the league's handled this?
Well, I feel like it all starts with the decision to play football. Because we wanted to play football. I wanted to play football. I wanted to play football in a pandemic. And I'm sure, some of my colleagues, feel the same way. I wanted to play football. I didn't want to skip. I didn't want to lose this year. I wanted to do everything that we possibly could to make this work. I'm sure, some of my colleagues felt the same. And, if you didn't feel like that, it was the opportunity to opt out, and everybody had the opportunity to opt out. And then from the league's perspective, from like the administration perspective, they want to play football too. They want to get this thing done. So they're trying to do everything possible to make that happen. So now we go to step 2. we are going to play football in a pandemic. How do we make that safe? We don't have the bubble, we don't have the bubble like the NBA had. It would have just been crazy to do 32 bubbles. It could have been possible, in my opinion. It's definitely possible, but to take all of these people away from their families, for 4 months is just extreme. The NBA only had to do it for that restart period, and to have a whole season in a bubble away from my whole family, like that would have been tough. Like we could have it could be done. It could definitely be done, but a more logical way to do it, in my opinion, was to do it the way we're doing it, and that's for everybody to go through daily testing every day, to continue to socially distance, and that means with your family and your friends and all the other obligations that you would have outside of football. And they really put the onus on the players. Okay, now we do that, right. We know it's gonna be some hoes. It's obviously hoes. It's obviously hoes because we go home and we can't really control. Like you could, but like say if your wife or your girlfriend goes to the gym and she contracts the virus at the gym or around her friends, and she brings it back to you, and now you have the virus. Right. It's so many different holes and so many different scenarios that could play out. And I think the NFL we did everything that we could possibly do to minimize the risk outside of getting the bubble. Right when we come in, we get tested. You got to get tested right before you come in the facility. Next thing you do, you go through a little heat scanner, and they take your temperature, and you pick up your tracker. We wear these trackers in there so we can monitor who we've been around longer than 10 minutes throughout the day, and we still socially distance in the building. And we wash our hands. You have to wear masks. We do everything that we can possibly do to stay safe, but still there are holes. So we know that people are going to have positive tests. We know that. Now the next step is to, whenever somebody does have a positive test, we try to contain it and keep it as small as possible. And we try to, contact everybody, these contact traces. We try to find everybody that has been around, and we check those guys. That's all we could possibly do. That's all that we could possibly do. And it all goes back to the very first decision. Like, we want to play football in a pandemic, and this is what comes with it. And now if it goes crazy, then you got to reassess things. The protocols that we had in order at the beginning of the season, like, it's changed. Things change. More positive tests start coming in, so they had to change the rules, and they had to crack down on some more stuff. And at the end of the day, for me, man, I'm not even playing right now, but I want to play football, and I want this to work. And we've shown that it can work. We went a whole training camp with no positive tests. We went the first 2 weeks without positive tests. We just got to reassess and, continue to go back to what worked for us. Now, the smart thing to do, now we still got to be human at the end of the day. If we just have an outbreak and all 32 teams catch, the virus, and it just goes crazy and it's just not safe to play football anymore, now we got to readdress stuff. And even then, I still don't say that we cancel a football season. We just take a break from the football season to reassess things to try to make this thing work. It's not like it's going to be like this. We're not going to have to deal with COVID. Well, just in my opinion, things could be crazy next year too as well. But hopefully we won't have to deal with this with the COVID crisis next year, and we just got to fight our way through this season, and everything will go back to normal next year.
You experienced this in the off season. Talk about your symptoms and how long you dealt with it.
I was in San Francisco training. That's where I normally go. During the off season to train and get back in football shape. It was in San Francisco from January 5th until March 20th. And whenever the stay-at-home order took place, San Francisco was the very first city to have the stay-at-home order. And I was like, we work out outside, and we run the sand hills, and we run the stairs and stuff. So in my mind, I was thinking hey, we're going to be good. We outside. We don't even go to a gym. We outside, and my mom and everybody was calling me and telling me to come back. I talked to Elway, and he was like, it's probably best to just come back home, and just in case anything, does happen, you would be here in Denver. So I come home, I'm here training at my gym like for the first 2 weeks, and I started to get like this cough, and it was like a painful cough. It wasn't like an asthma cough or like a Colorado altitude like cough. Like it wasn't that. It was like, bro, like it hurts to cough. Like, and when I would cough, my lungs would be sore, and like my throat would be sore, and I still didn't pay any mind to it. I continued to work out, and I came in the kitchen, and after one workout, and I was coughing, and my assistant, she was telling me, like, you might as well just go get tested. The Broncos they have free testing. I was like, all right, I might as well get tested. I'm joking about it. I'm going to get the Rona test. I'm going to go get checked on by I'm about to go see it. Like, I was joking, I was joking about it. I wasn't taking it serious.
Right.
And I went to get tested. I drove up, Dr. Garrity, our team physician, he had the whole like hazmat suit on, and he gave me the test through the car door. And in the car was my cousin and my homeboy Shane Ray. He was driving. We were all in the car. When I got tested, he dropped me back off. Shane went home. I continued to like work out. 2 days later, Dr. Garrity called me, and he was like, he said, hey. His very first thing that he said, hey, how are you feeling? And I was like, hold on, like, how am I feeling? Like, it's different, because usually he usually, people say like, hey, how you doing? Like, how's everything going?
Right.
But like,
nah, how you feeling?
He was like, hey,
you knew.
How are you? Yeah, he was like, hey, how you feeling? I was like, oh, like, hey, I'm like, I'm straight, everything good. He was like, well, we got the results back, and it says that you are positive for COVID-19. And like right when he said it, bro, like my heart just dropped. I was like, bro, like people are dying from this thing. Like it's serious, and I have asthma, like the whole nine. And I was like, bro, like the same little process that I went through, like hurting my ankle, like I went through the same process then. It was like the initial shock. I called everybody, let them know I was good. And then right after that, it was like, hey, how can I beat this? Like, what can I do to like overcome this? What could I do to like not let this affect me like it's affecting everybody else? And I did the quarantine 14 days. He told me I had to stay at home 14 days, and I was like, man, like that's a long time. That's a long time to just chill at the house. And then when you used to life, like when you used to like people are like I have like the chef come. It's just like so many people involved in my life to help everything like go, and that was taken away. Like I had to make my own food. I had to like we had to do everything, and I had all of these people like looking out for me, and like I had all these people like checking in on for me, and it really put me in a mindset like, hey, this is serious, because if I'm struggling through this thing and I got all of these other people, like all these people helping me to get through it, what about the people that don't have that? What about the people that don't have like the team physician and everybody pouring out like all type of tips to like get through it? What about those people? Like those people are like really getting the bad end of it. And like I got all this stuff in place, and I got all these people looking out for me, and I'm still struggling through this virus. I knew it was serious, and I knew like I had to like let the people know that I had the virus. Like I thought about it at first, like, man, everybody gonna know I got the virus, but I felt like it was bigger than that. I felt like when people knew like I had the virus, then people would start to take it serious, because the people around me, they know how well like I take care of my body, and like they know like the nutrition and all the things that I do to stay in shape, and I got the virus. So like the regular guy, like if you get the virus, it's gonna be trouble. And I just wanted to spread awareness through that, so that's why I had to let people know. But it was serious, man, and it took me some time to like get over it. I tested positive for the virus for 17 days. Then I got my first negative test after the 17th day, and I got my second negative test after the 21st day, and then I started to work out like on the 22nd day. I started to work out, and when I went out there, bro, I was out of there. I couldn't. Like I was just doing regular warm-ups, like stretching, and like, bro, I was out of there. I was like, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to play football this year. I don't know how like I'm gonna be able to get back like my lungs back to like where they were. And I just started to work out, man. It took me about like a month and a half, but I was able to fight through it, man. I was able to get back to normal. So it's definitely a tough virus, man, and getting it during the season and trying to play and come back from it, it's definitely got to be tough.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I thought you did a great job of spreading awareness about it, especially somebody like you, so visible, but also so open to the public. Sharing that as a resource to people was really important, so people did understand what others were dealing with. So I commend you for that. But then what about a guy, Cam Newton, the most notable guy to have gotten the virus? You guys were drafted the same class, 1 and 2, respectively, and in that draft year. Have you talked to him at all? Have you reached out to him? What's your guys' dialogue like?
No, I haven't reached out to Cam, but I talked to him before. Like, I talked to Cam before, he got the virus. Like, during this offseason, I saw, all the workouts that he was doing, and I saw, all the work that he was putting in for this season. And I just wanted to hit him up and let him know that I was supporting him, man, and, I still believe in him, and I want to see him do good. I want to see him do good with the Patriots and stuff. And, it was so many people, doubting him, and, it was so many people, for him not to get picked up and, all this other stuff that went on, with his free agency, it was crazy to me. I see all these other quarterbacks get picked up, and I was like, man, this is Cam Newton, MVP of the league. He changed the league. He was one of the first, quarterback. He was the first one. He was before, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes and, all these guys that can run and pass well. He was really, the first, quarterback to be able to do both of those extremely well and, to lead his team to the Super Bowl and do all that stuff. So when I saw, him fighting back from injury and him coming back, and when he got picked up from the Patriots, I reached out to him, hey, man, I want to see you do good. I want to see you do well. But I haven't talked to him, since the virus thing.
You talked about the NBA having this bubble and the NFL and reassessing some things. Do you think it makes sense to have at least to have a playoff bubble because it's such a shorter period of time and less teams? Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, I like it. I think that makes sense. If you got, it's hard to do it with 32 teams, and a football team is just so big. A football team,
I know.
Come on, you know how it is, when you travel, when you travel and
that plane is full.
Bro, it's full, and now you're gonna have a bubble. I'm interested to see how it would happen because it's definitely doable. But I'm just interested to see how would they be able to do it. When you got a basketball team, you got 11 guys on the basketball team.
Yeah.
You can pack. You can put it You can do a basketball team on each floor if you wanted to, And if you got if you got those hotels in Orlando and you got 30 or 45 floors, you could put you can put a whole team and staff on each floor, So it's different when you got a football team. You got 75 guys, and you have 8 teams. That's a lot of people that you got to look out for and staff. These guys want to have families and they want to be around their families and their wives and their children as well. So
right,
it's just the logistics things that the NFL people that's way smarter than me and way more capable of working these problems out. They'll be able to do it, and I feel like it's definitely doable, and it's definitely something that we should take an extreme look into. You got all these top teams competing for a Super Bowl, and you want to make sure everything goes right. You don't want to test positive 2 days before the game, and now. The whole playoffs look different. You want all the guys to be able to play. You don't want it to get interrupted. But then again, that goes back to, the very first thing that we talked about. We agreed to play football in a pandemic. Right. This stuff comes with it. And then we're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to get adjusted to the new normal. But, this playoff bubble, I think it's definitely something that we should do.
You've had this illustrious career, and it will continue next year as soon as you're healthy. I have no doubt about that. But you're a Super Bowl champ, an MVP, a future Hall of Famer. I want to know your favorite Peyton Manning story, your favorite DeMarcus Ware story. We had DeMarcus on the show. He talked awfully highly of you. So give me your favorite Peyton Manning story from that Super Bowl year, from Super Bowl 50, the championship year.
Man, I was with Peyton for 4 years, man, and it was just the whole me being young and getting a guy like Peyton Manning. You think shit like that happen all the time. You think oh yeah, we get when you're a young guy and you just 2 years in the league and you get guys you sign guys like Willis McGahee and Peyton Manning and you got Demaryius Thomas and You got No Sean Marino backing up. You thinking like, oh yeah, this how football is. Like, you're going to get players like this. You're going to have legends like this every year.
Right.
You know, that's where my mom was at. And then, like, Peyton's not here anymore. And you see, like, how hard it is to, like, build a team back up to, like, it's extremely hard. And, you know, I just remember when Peyton Manning first got here, he dropped back for a pass during OTAs. We back there for OTAs. He had, like, his little hand towel on his waist. And he dropped back for a pass, and he threw it, and I was like, bro, like, that's Peyton Manning. Like, that's Peyton Manning out there. Like, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Like, I was like, bro, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to win the Super Bowl. We got Peyton Manning, and just being around him in the locker room, like, I was expecting for him to be, like, just, like, I was expecting for him to be Peyton Manning, like, the superstar that we see on TV and all the, you know, the nationwide commercials. Like, I was expecting, like, this. Bro, he's one of the guys. Like, he's one of the guys, man. Like, he knows everybody. He's I don't even think humble is the word for it. Like, he's one of the guys. He knows all the janitors. He knows all the custodians, the strength and conditioning guys, like the equipment guys from number 1 to number 2. It doesn't matter. He has a relationship with all these guys. He was, you know, never too big to, like, ask a question no matter what it may be. He was, you know, he always had time for everybody. Even if it was, like, short conversation, you know, he was never too big for his teammates. And that's what I remember most about Peyton Manning. And, you know, when he cracked the whip, like, everybody listened. And, you know, he was a great leader. In any game, whether we're down by 21, I remember we played the San Diego Chargers. We were down by 24 points at halftime. And we came back and we won that game. I want to say we won that game 27-35. I think Peyton Manning came back and threw 5 touchdowns that second half. I might be lying, but I remember it being something crazy that second half, and, you know, just, you know, being around Peyton Manning, that's what I remember the most, how humble he was. And I try to, you know, I always try to, like, you know, take some of the great things that Peyton Manning did and DeMarcus Ware did, and, you know, socially around the locker room and the guys, and I try to instill that in myself, and I just remember how great they were. And, you know, that's the type of guy that I want to be. That's the type of guy that I want, you know, my teammates to remember me as. And, you know, me and DeMarcus, we had such a special relationship.
What's one thing you learned from DeMarcus? One thing, like, technically, not just as a friend. I know you guys became good friends, but technically that he really, you know, taught you something.
Man, his game is so different from any other defensive man that I've ever been around and I've ever seen. You know, he was so technical with his hands and, you know, his setup and his eyes. And, you know, I think number one thing that I got from DeMarcus is looking down the line at everybody else on the line, not just my guy, and getting beads on what this down is going to be. Like, getting beads on what the play is going to be just by looking at the tackle across or looking at the center, knowing if it's going to be a quick snap by looking at the center. DeMarcus will look at 5 minutes of film and know if the center is leaning out or not. And if the center is leaning out, that means he gives us a cue when we can jump the ball. So sometimes centers have, like, this, they lift up their heels before they, like, snap, and DeMarcus will go off his heels. Sometimes DeMarcus will look at the quarterbacks, and, you know, sometimes quarterbacks, like, lift up their heels when they're, like, under center. They lift up their heels to, like, get back out of there fast, and he'll go off their heels. So I think with DeMarcus, I can never mold my game after DeMarcus. His game was so different. Like, I can never go out there and do exactly what he did, but the way he looked at the game and the little tricks that he picked up by watching film and stuff, like, that's what I got from DeMarcus the most.
Yeah, you did hit me pretty hard on a Thursday night game, you dick.
Oh yeah, that was my first Thursday night. That was before we was cool, Mark. That was before we was cool. You know, that was before we was cool, man. Yeah, that was my rookie season. Right. That's my rookie season. I just had, you know, I had to.
Oh, I remember.
You know, I had to get started.
Okay, well, talk to me about the AFC West, the Broncos' chances of trying to make this thing happen, and how hard is it to play against Patrick Mahomes? I mean, is he the best quarterback you've played against other than me? Is he the best you've ever faced? Come on, talk to me.
You know, I was just having a discussion about this earlier, man. Like, whenever you got like elite quarterbacks, like, you can't really rank them. You can't really, like, say, like, oh, like, Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning or Peyton Manning's better. You can't really. They're just elite. And if you switch out Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, you get different results. If you switch out Peyton Manning and Big Ben, and you bring Big Ben to Indy, and you take Peyton Manning and put him with the the Steelers. Like it's a different team. It's a different look. So, all these guys are just elite, and I feel like Patrick Mahomes is just like he's an elite quarterback. He can be beat. All these guys can be beat. We've beaten Tom Brady. I've beaten. I don't think I've ever beaten Patrick Mahomes. By the way, I haven't beat Patrick Mahomes, but all these guys can be beat. We just witnessed it by the Raiders beating the Chiefs. This last past week. It's just pro football. And if your 53 is ready to go and the other team is not ready to go, it don't matter who you got on either side of the ball. Like Sundays are gonna be Sundays forever, and teams always end up getting beat that shouldn't get beat. We wasn't supposed to win the Super Bowl. We wasn't supposed to. We weren't supposed to beat the Carolina Panthers. They was undefeated. They hadn't lost a game all year. And we had been in tight games all year long. We had won. We won 6 games within 3 points or less. So we had been in dogfights that whole entire year when the Carolina Panthers had been blowing out everybody. Going into that game, and we just wasn't supposed to win it. And Sunday comes and we're able to play and make some plays and. We won a Super Bowl, and that's how every single game is on each and every Sunday. Just because you have, Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger or Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't mean that you can't get beat. You just got to go out there and play. But they definitely have a great quarterback, and it's definitely hard to win against, the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody knows that.
I mean, the game's changed so much even since you've been in the league. Hits like Jalen Ramsey had. Did you see it over the weekend?
What they called they said it was helmet to helmet. Yeah, I saw it.
Right. What'd you think? And how hard is it? I mean, the offensive players are moving fast. You guys are moving just as fast. It is a high-speed collision, and it looked to some people like Kyle Allen might have ducked his head a little bit and Ramsey was trying to go for a specific target. But, I mean, your target area is so small as a defender. Talk about how the league's changed, and do you think Jalen Ramsey should get fined for that?
Me personally, my opinion, I don't think Jalen Ramsey should be fined for that. Right. But I know how the league works. And I know how the league works.
They set the precedent, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna look into that. Like I saw it live. He came he was trying to just get a hit on him. You don't know if Kyle. I don't know if Kyle's gonna run out of bounds. I don't know if he's gonna try to run me over on the sideline. I'm just trying to come hit him, and that's what he did. And at the last second, Kyle turned sideways and Jalen hit him on the side of the helmet. And that's a soft spot, and it kind of put him down for a second, but yeah. The league is doing everything they possibly can do to make this game a safer game, a sustainable game. If we continue to play how they played in the 80s and 90s, in 2000, in 2025 and 2030, people they might not want to watch football like that. They might not be as interested in football to go out and see everybody beat themselves up and create all these injuries, long-lasting injuries after football. Nobody wants to watch that. But if the NFL can clean it up in a way that would make it safer for all the players involved, in turn, the game is a more sustainable game and more people want to watch it. And you have injuries you have freak injuries all the time, like guys popping Achilles or breaking an ankle or shoulder, or you have all this stuff all the time. Like we can't control that, but what we can control is the way we tackle each other, the way we hit each other. We can control that, and the game can be played without all these crazy hits. And, it's just tough for guys like me. It's tough for guys like Jalen Ramsey. We've played football our whole entire lives, and this is how you play football, and now when you get into the league, you change it up. But as a pro, you got to be able to, change and mold and evolve with the game, and that's just one of the wrinkles that they want to get out of the game. My whole entire life, I've always been taught to just clobber the quarterback, just whenever you get a chance, whenever you get a chance to get a hit on the quarterback, you do it. And now it's just not you can't do that. It's especially in the National Football League, quarterbacks mean so much to the sport. And if you could take off a guy rolling up, and if you could take a guy hitting a quarterback in the knee and saving like a ACL or MCL, or you could take out the low hits or the concussions, or falling on top of a 300-pound guy, because at the end of the day, I'm a quarterback, Mark. I'm a quarterback at heart. So I agree with you on this stuff. I feel you. If I'm tackling a guy, I'm standing here and I'm throwing the ball. I'm looking downfield trying to throw the ball, trying to hit Keenan Allen or Julio Jones. I'm trying to hit him deep, and I got this 300-pound guy that hits me at the same time. And now he falls on top of me. and now I like break my collarbone or like some like we can take that out the game. Like you can still hit the quarterback, you can still hit him hard, but we don't have to like fall on top of him. That'll make our game safer. That's one little wrinkle that'll make our game safer and more sustainable.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure I speak for a lot of quarterbacks when I hear a defensive guy talk like that. Thank you so much. But can we rank your top 5 quarterbacks in the league, or 6 actually? I'll give you 6 quarterbacks in the league from 1 to 6, or 6 to 1, however you want to do it. But we'll go with Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
You like Josh Allen in there already?
See, I kind of do. I think he's putting up numbers like an MVP. He just hasn't done it for a long period of time yet, right? This is the first year everybody's seen it. But what do you think about Josh Allen?
I like Josh Allen. I like it.
But you don't like him talk 6?
I mean, he's a great quarterback, but we're talking about like he's a great quarterback. I don't want to start no controversy, and I don't want to start that. Like he's a great quarterback, and like he's a great quarterback to build a franchise around. Like all of that good stuff. Like, and he's on his way to becoming like, you know, a great quarterback in his league. But like,
you need the sample size. I get it. You need more.
No, you don't really need that because we've only gotten a sample size from Patrick Mahomes too, and that sample has been enough to like say like he's this and he's gonna be that. So you don't really need like, you know, you don't have to. It doesn't take 7 years to prove that you're an elite quarterback. You know, you just got to go out there and be that. But
if you have one MVP vote, are you going Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers this year? Take Mahomes out of it. Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? Who's your MVP vote?
I'm going Russ, man. I'm going Russ, man. I'm going Russ, and you know, he's just been. That's the only thing that Russ hasn't been able to get. Like, that's the one thing. Like, you know, that's the one thing. Like, and I think he's, you know, his mental is just on a whole nother level right now. He's mentally, and you know, for a quarterback, like that's 50% of it. Like his mental and his confidence and his ability to will things into existence is just off the charts with Russ right now, and I don't see it changing, you know, anytime soon. This Minnesota game that they just played, you know, it was a tough one, and he was able to come out on top with that one. And you know, the game with the Cowboys was a tough one, and you know he's gonna have some easier games that he's gonna play in. But you know, these first 5, he's been unstoppable, and it's definitely been inspiring. You know. And not only like quarterbacks, defensively too, like Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, you know, those guys are playing out of their mind right now. And I get to see.
Yeah, let's talk some of those guys. Let's talk about your defensive guys because you hold pass rush summits. Yeah. You like to talk about, you know, this game and the defensive perspective and the skills, and you like sharing those skills with other players. A lot of guys are very selfish about stuff like that. You're very open to it, and that's awesome to see. Building that fraternity. But okay, give me your top 5 pass rushers. Obviously Myles Garrett's got to be in there. Aaron Donald's got to be in there.
I'm talking about this season right now, like from the games that I just
like, right
watched,
now.
Like, I got no particular order.
Okay.
But I got Aaron Donald.
We'll cut that out. Don't worry.
This 4-sack game that he just had this last week, like I'm sitting like at home like watching it, like bro, like I gotta play, bro. I have to play, like. When you see like people have like these games and I'm sitting at home watching hurt, like it creates like this drive to like, bro, like that's how I know, like, bro, that's how I know, like I'm coming right back after this. Like I'm still at home watching these guys, like, and I'm getting like fired up, like, bro, I gotta go out there. I gotta go out there and I gotta show like what I can do. But you know, Aaron Donald, he had this 4-sack game, went crazy. He just gorilla tackled Alex Smith. Alex Smith, this is 4th snap. And like in like 2 years, he hasn't played since 2018. And I'm watching that game live. You know, I see Kyle Allen go down, and you know, I see Alex Smith come in, and I'm nervous for Alex. Like I'm sitting at home hurt, and I know like the road that he had to like travel just to get back into the game, just to like get on the field and play. And like the camera crew that's showing clips of his family and his son. Yeah. And I'm like feeling it. I'm like feeling it for Alex. And
that's cool.
He go out there, he throw a pass to the flat. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he's building up, he's getting warmed up. And then, you know, second pass, he kind of scrambles a little bit. He throws it off to, he throws like a little dump route, a little check down to the running back. Missed it by a little bit. They had to go check it to see if he caught it, but, you know, ended up missing that one. And now third down comes, and like I can just feel like Alex Smith, like, okay, I got him, like I'm throwing it down the field. I'm gonna make this play, and then all of a sudden Aaron Donald just come out of nowhere and just end all of that stuff. So Aaron Donald had a crazy game, 4 sacks. Myles Garrett, he's on a mission this year. He's looking crazy too. Khalil Mack, this Thursday night game that he played in, like he just flipped off. He tackled Tom Brady, but then he flipped. He just flipped the offensive lineman, 320-pound offensive lineman, flipped him too. He should have had 3 sacks that game, but they threw this unnecessary roughness call, which is ridiculous. But we gotta take care of the quarterbacks. I get it, and Alden Smith. Alden Smith has been rushing the passer good.
I was just gonna say Alden Smith.
He hasn't played football in 4 years. The NFL, they love redemption stories and comeback stories, and that's a great one right there with Alden Smith. He's had to overcome so much, and we all know being away from football, even a couple of games, it changes you, and to be away from football 4 years and then come back and have 4 sacks through the first 4 games is crazy. And T.J. Watt, man, he's looking great. Joey Bose is looking great too. I know that's 6. Yeah. But Joey Bose is looking better than he's ever looked. So, those would be my guys that are just killing it this year. And, I'm sitting at home watching these guys just getting motivated, man. That's how I know I'm ready to come back. I
get it. Your chicken farming story. How did this start? What's the current status? How's the business model? How's the business plan? Give us a current state of the union when it comes to chicken farming, and are you going to have a special chicken sandwich place? Are you going to compete with Popeyes and Chick-fil-A with the spicy chicken sandwich? What's the deal?
I started a chicken operation. It's called Greener Pastures Chicken. You can look it up online. We do pasture raised.
I think Savannah sent me a shirt. I think I got a shirt from you guys.
Yeah, the green shirt. Yep, it's a Greener Pastures shirt. And when I started raising chickens, I wanted to be different than the commercial operations that go on. I wanted to have cameras around. I wanted photos. I wanted everybody to see how we raise our chicken, which, in traditional chicken operations, people shy away from that. They don't want you to see how, the product is raised. They don't want you to see how the chickens are living. And on my end, I got pictures you can go to the Greener Pastures Instagram page and you can see how my chickens are living on a daily basis. And they have access to natural grass, natural sunlight. They have plenty of space in each chicken house. They're living happy lives. And I think you can really taste that in the bird, and that's the only unfortunate thing at the end of the day, we got to eat them. But other than that, they're living the best lives that you could possibly live out of chickens. And I think you can really taste, I think you really taste the difference 100%. What's different about our chicken houses, we have these coops on open pastures, and we just have them hooked up to 4-wheelers, and we just drag them across the land. So they get new access to natural bugs, sunlight, all the organic things that you could possibly want out your chicken. We gotta make Greener Pastures chicken. I hate that. I should have sent a little brochure or flyer so you can see it.
Yeah, right. I gotta pump that up. And then what about what's the current status of the business? Is it direct to consumer? Do you sell to any other companies that are famous for chicken like Chick-fil-A or anything like that? What's the deal?
Not yet. That's my dream. That's my dream to have a contract with Chick-fil-A or Chipotle. Chipotle will be a good one because they started here in Colorado, and they're all about having real meat and having natural product, and there's no better product than Greener Pastures chicken. But we don't have those contracts yet. We're going straight from the farm to the house, just using the same Amazon model, and it's been doing pretty well for us. We're expanding with Greener Pastures 2 in January. So the chickens are good. Everything's good, and it's crazy to think about the very first opportunity that I had to I didn't grow up wanting to be a chicken farmer. That's just not, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I grew up in the country, but it never hit me I'm gonna be a chicken farmer. When I go to the league, I'm gonna be a chicken farmer. It never hit me. I went to college, and to be honest, it started out by taking an easy class, It was a meat production 101, and the average of this class was a 90, like a 92 or something, and I needed it to like boost up my GPA, like like a lot of guys in college. So I'm taking this meat production class, right? And it was easy. And if you know me, whenever I have an opportunity to take a nap or go to sleep, I'm gonna do it. And I was in this meat production class, and I used to fall asleep every day. It's an easy class. I used to fall in this class every day. And this is what really got me on to like chicken and selling chicken. My professor, Dr. Farnell, he would see me sleep in the class, and he was like, hey, Von, tell me about vertical integration. Tell me about meat production. Tell me about the genetics. In turn, it would make me like learn like the process even more. And I just started doing the numbers, and I started going through it, and I was like, wait, like they making this much? Like, wait, like this is what I had to do to like be a chicken farmer. And that was the first opportunity. This was even like before the league. Like this is in college, and I saw a way for me to like make it and like provide for my family. And I saw a way for me to have something sustainable that I could do over time, and I can pass down to my kids, and I can pass it down to my grandkids and my great-great-grandkids. And, I saw an opportunity to do that, and, made it to the National Football League. And, they had to take out this huge loan like some chicken farmers do that I had to pay off like 40 years, and my children would be paying off. I could just, start this business now. I know about it. I was already raising chickens at home. With my mom and my dad, and, the whole family was in on the business. And, I saw my shot, and I took it. And, it's just crazy to, be 31 years old and to have a chicken farm. And, it was just something that I just saw in a class in college, an easy class in college, and boom, here we are. So it's doing good. It's doing well, man, and I'm proud of it.
You have this iconic look. You always have glasses on, Von, and your charity, Von's Vision, is all about eyewear or corrective eyewear for Denver and the greater Denver area, for lower income families and need eyewear and corrective eyewear. Where did that come from? Obviously, you have that look, and that's the signature Von Miller look. The glasses, they're always cool glasses. And what does that mean to you to give back to the community like that?
Man, it's great, man. When I first got in the league, I was looking for a way to give back. I had incredible teammates around me like Tim Tebow and Brian Dawkins with all these great foundations and all these great charities, and I was doing incredible things with the community, and I wanted to do that. And I wanted to have something that I wanted to leave my stamp and my identity on the community and help at the same time. And it took me a year, man. I saw all the great stuff that Tim Tebow was doing, and that was him. Like that was Tim. Like building hospitals in the Philippines. Like that's Tim Tebow. Like he grew up. Like that was his fingerprint. Right. That was his identity. And I was trying to find the same thing for me. And signing autographs, and took off my glasses, and I took out my glasses, and I like wiped my eyes, and I looked down at my glasses one day, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna start a charity. I'm gonna start a foundation for glasses, and we're gonna get back glasses, eye exams, contacts, LASIK surgery, anything to do with the eyes back to underprivileged children. And it just started out like that, and I wanted to help like 5 or 6 kids, and to raise over $1 million when glasses only cost $20 to make is just been incredible, man. And I had a crazy team behind me. Like I had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, all of these guys behind me that make, not the actual Scottie Pippen, I'm talking about the guys that work for like the guys that work for Von's Vision. But they're like role players. No.
I get it.
I'm talking about they're like big time players like that.
Like, dude, you got the whole Bulls team working for you, making glasses in a sweatshop.
No, I was saying like Jeff Ginn and all the guys that work and do the great stuff for Von's Vision. They're like Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Steve Kerr. They allow me to go out there and do what I do, and get guys behind me like that, man. It's been incredible, man. And I just want to keep pushing, man. I just want to keep working. I never want to put like a limit on it, man. Whatever we can do, to help, whatever it evolves to, is truly a blessing. I'm beyond grateful to even do what we've done over these past years. I think this would be 8 years that we started Von's Vision, and to do something and to give back 2 years, 1 year is a lot, man. And we've been doing it for 8 years, man. And I'm truly, appreciative and grateful, for, all the people that have been involved and everybody that's helped me and helped Von's vision to the point where it's at.
All those kids are very grateful too. Chicken's grateful to a point, not till the end, obviously, because it's a sad reality. But we all appreciate the great food that you supply with Greener Pastures Chicken. Thank you again for taking the time, Von. I know you're busy rehabbing. You got a lot of stuff going on, even though you're not playing. What are your social media? So it's Greener Pastures, Von's Vision, Von Miller on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, man, you ain't got to look at those, man. Just just Greener Pastures Chicken and Von's Vision would be great, man. If you guys could follow that, man, that'd be incredible.
We're wishing you the best. We know you're going to be back out better than ever next year. So God bless you. Keep rehabbing hard, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you.
Like, share, subscribe, at Mark_Sanchez, at Fourth and Forever, Instagram, Twitter, all that. You know where to go. Thanks again for having us, and we'll see you soon.